Welcome back to the True Light Show podcast, Perspectives of Your Own Infinity, where all perspectives are valid. I just finished recording $1 Million Diary podcast for my Patreon. It was intense, to say the least. And the reason I'm here recording this one is because I pushed through that one and I explain exactly more in detail what I'm going to talk about right now for today's topic. Inspired action is the how. So if you want to access that episode on the $1 Million Diary podcast, you can either become a member or you can just buy that recording alone. All these recordings, everything that I'm talking, it's it's really, really powerful because this is my true me. There is power when you're doing things when it comes from your highest excitement. The level of force energetically, in a good way, the level of momentum, um, the transmission within it, because it's coming from your higher self. It's your highest excitement. It's your highest frequency. It's the closest to your true self frequency. So there's magic when you take action from inspiration, from your passion, from that guidance. It's really, really powerful. I cannot emphasize enough when Bashar talks about the formula, how I need a word that it's more powerful than powerful. That's how I feel. So we always, by default, we worry about the how, right? But how am I going to do it? Like when I decided I want to play with becoming a millionaire, and my first inspired action was create a podcast where I'm documenting everything, the lows, the highs, the programs that I'm working through, the abundance blocks that I'm working through, and how I work through it, and what it means in my real life, in my practical life, like how it touches real aspects of my life and how I go about it. That's all the $1 Million Diary podcast about. It's me being vulnerable, is me being open and transparent about how I deal with the energetic blocks that are coming up. So the interesting part of inspired action is that is the how. Once you get that inspired action, that is your how. You just don't get the full picture of the how. You don't get the full plan. You see? You just get that piece, and you have to trust that it connects with a bigger picture that it's already created, because creation is finished. So it's already there. You're just really, it's like you're in a maze. You're in a maze. The path is already there, but you're just like figuring it out, even though it's already there. You see? So you're just having fun figuring it out. Ultimately, you're not even figuring it out, because once you receive the guidance to do this, to turn left, right? It's on point. It does not miss anything. You know what I mean? Like it's exact. For example, I was on this Zoom with this teacher that I follow, and she's explaining how you create the offer. I mean, you create, you launch it before you create what's inside, before you create the content, right? And the reason why is because now that you see that there's people that want it, it's going to work. Now you can fill it in. For me, I'm working the other way, because to a certain degree, yes, I'm doing that, but to a certain degree, I'm not. Because once I know, I'm not really figuring things out. I figure out my alignment to my guidance. That's what's kind of becomes more and more clear. the more clear I am with my guidance, then the more I know it is not, it will not be wrong. It will not take me through a route that is not of my highest benefit. So it's on point all the time. So instead of me creating something to see if people want it, I just wait for the guidance of the thing that is going to be wanted. You see the difference? Because it's already made. So when you use that approach, I'm not saying she's wrong. She's right. From that perspective, she's right. But for me, it doesn't apply because I don't work that way. I take all the actions that I'm taking. They've been so precise, and there's been so much fulfillment in every action, in everything that I've been doing, because I'm not really attached to the outcome. And when I become aware that I'm attached to the outcome, I see the program. Oh, why? There's this belief of whatever XYZ. So I transmute it and release it. And that's what we do in Reflectorium. I help you process and dissolve what you're not, so you can come in contact with your true guidance and just take action from that place, from your home frequency. So when the guidance is there, it will always hit all the boxes all the time. So it's not like, let's see if this works. It will work. Period. It will work. Now, if you're attaching your logic and your reasoning on how it's supposed to work, it's gonna fail you because it's not there to meet your logical mind's reasoning. It's way beyond it. But you trust it that somehow it's working out. I've worked on projects that it went nowhere just out of excitement of doing it. And now they're making sense. It's already done. I don't have to, quote unquote, waste my time creating it because it's already created. And it was created from the energy of excitement because in the moment I felt like doing it, even though it didn't connect to anything particularly. I didn't know. And that's something Stephen Jobs talks about. Have you seen that video of his when he's talking about, I think it was a lecture in Harvard that he was given. I really don't know. But he was talking about connecting the dots. You cannot connect the dots until you look back. When he was taking that calligraphy class in college, it made no sense. Why would he be taking that calligraphy class? Right? And now we see how it makes sense. That's exactly how it works. Your inspired action is the how that you don't know how it fits into the ultimate plan. But the plan is already there because your soul planned it. It was put there by your soul. So your physical mind is just here to really enjoy the maze of figuring out first its own guidance. Once you know what guidance is, once you know what your true self guidance is, and what your false self interferences, resistance is, you'll know that the action taken, it will bear fruits. It's destined to bear fruit. There's no way you can get it wrong when you're taking action from that inspired place. So you trust that moment, your highest excitement led you to do something that looks so unreasonable, that doesn't connect with anything your mind can conceive, but you trust that there's a bigger picture that you don't have access to. And that's part of the spontaneity of the moment. That's part of the being surprised with life. That's part of the mystery of life. I remember when I was married and our life was planned out. It was like, oh my God, no. Is this what I'm destined for? And I was being taken care of financially, like I had everything. But it shrank my soul knowing that my life was already planned from my logical mind. If it's planned from my higher self mind that my physical mind has no idea, then that I want. I want that being surprised. I want the mystery. I want the not knowing. I want the surrender. I want the flow, right? Now, the reason you want the security of the structure is because you're afraid of your full self. There are aspects of you that are really, really vibrating at such a low frequency that you camouflage. You camouflage that part of you through through holding on to security in 3D, holding on to security in whatever form it takes, a marriage, a job, a business you don't like, whatever it is. You prefer that security than going through for the aliveness of your soul. I couldn't do it. My soul was dying. The fire in me was dying. Of course, it is not easy, but who wants to play a game where you're not being challenged? Imagine if Game of Duty had no challenge of, you know what I mean? Like yes, from one perspective it's hard, from another perspective it's not. Because it depends on how you see it. It depends on the stance you take. It is easy and it's not easy. They're both at the same time. It depends on how you want to flow with it. I've seen it immediately. One situation, the same situation, seen from different perspectives, having different experiences. Just because the shift in how you want to see it. And why? Why do you have the power to experience dark or light within the same situation? It's because you are the creator. You are the creator of your experience. So one same thing in physical form, one same challenge can be seen as a problem, and it can be seen as an opportunity for a breakthrough. It's like when you don't want to find something, you're not going to find it. When you want to find it, you'll find it. I've seen things happen in my life that there's no way it could have happened. But because the openness and the certainty within me that I knew that I knew, it happened. Also, there is a very touchy subject about things that don't happen and why they don't happen. And I talk about it on the $1 Million Diary podcast on my Patreon, episode 2. I go in depth about why. It's really, really good if you want to listen to it. Those are the nuggets of gold that I'm really just giving and talking about it on the $1 Million Diary. But again, coming back into inspired action is the how. Once you understand that, you'll never, ever are gonna really spend time thinking how you're gonna do it. Because you are not meant to know how. And I know all of the teachers say this, and I'm just like repeating the same thing, but it is very important to understand it because I heard it so many times, but it never really landed. So when he landed, it was like, oh shit. This is the reason we don't focus on the how, because the how is not there visible yet. You just say, I want XYZ. The path to get to XYZ is going to be through your inspired action. You're going to feel like, oh, today I don't want to do anything. I just want to stay in bed. Now that you feel good just staying in bed, now you feel like, oh, maybe I should call this person. But you wouldn't have had that thought to call this person because you were not feeling good enough, because you thought you needed to do XYZ. So you distracted yourself with doing XYZ instead of soothing yourself in the bed, thinking, oh, I'm not being productive if I just be in bed. No, you're actually resting and feeling better. So now that you feel better, you have access to a better thought. Now that better thought leads you to another opportunity. That friend of yours has an idea of some project of something, and then you become a part of it. Like, you don't know. I'm telling you. I was listening to this girl on YouTube. She said that when she started following her intuition led her to, what was it? To scribble, right? To do some scribble or some drawing, weird drawings, I don't know, something like that. But her mind, the reasoning, the conditioning was, you need to get to work because we need to pay the bills. But she doesn't want to work. She's exhausted. She's burnt. She's burnt out. She's overwhelmed. She doesn't want to work. But the reasoning is, the logical mind is, get to work so we can eat and pay the bills. So she started following her intuition. So she had to go against what the false self ideas were telling her. And she had to follow guidance. She just wanted to scribble. So she started scribbling. You know what she found out through scribbling? She got to dissolve a part of herself. I don't really remember her story. So it's very, very good. But it was something, she got to work with her inner child just to the drawing and released a big block. Once that block was released, she was called into something else, which led her to where she's at and, all the success she was having. But that's how it starts, with things that you wouldn't even, oh my God, if I tell you the silly things that I did when I started to disconnect from what my mind told me I had to do because I had to pay the bills, because I had to eat, if not I was going to die, right? Because ultimately that's the worst fear we have. You're going to die, right? All the silly things that got me into little by little creating the life that I wanted, which ultimately I just wanted the freedom to be me. And now that I feel free to be me, I can work on all the projects that I'm working now. Now I can think about becoming a millionaire with no attachment to the outcome because I don't really care, because I'm so fulfilled in the now. You know what I mean? I don't get to build a company, a business because I need the money, because if not, I'm not going to survive. I get to build it because it's fun, because I gave my time to work through the most insane blocks, fears, scarcity, poverty blocks, when I was giving myself the time to just do nothing and do the things that came as an inspired action from that nothingness place. And I'll talk about this more in depth on the MDD podcast, on the Million Dollar Diary podcast, in my Patreon. I will go in depth of how I faced those programs. They were very scary. I will not share them here, but I will share them there. So, trust, surrender that your inspired action, and if there's no inspired action in that moment, what needs to be done, you'll know it, you'll feel it. I was telling this, I was talking with somebody the other day about this. Well, it's a line I use with all my clients when they don't get it. Inspired action is like you going to the bathroom to pee or poo. You don't think, oh, I need to go poop. No, your body tells you and you move. It's a natural movement. The same thing with inspired action. There's this natural energy. Something moves you. It's like the next logical step, because it's part of your joy, of your beingness. It doesn't come from the mind. You need to do this and this and that. I help people with this. It's something that comes so easy to me. I never thought it was so difficult for people to understand it. But it is. In I help people move through life in a way that you flow and you surrender to the bigger plan of your soul. So you feel like you're being carried through life while facing the challenges that you need to face, because we cannot escape that, while integrating the darkness, because you cannot escape that, right? But you do it from a place that it's not suffering. You're not suffering. You're not going through intense, painful, crazy moments anymore. I think we're done with that. And if you're not, I can help you with it. I'm an expert of it because I can feel you. I can feel your energy. I can feel where the blocks are at. I know the programs. You start speaking about your life, and I already know the mirroring, what it means for you. And we start dissolving them, and I process it with you. That's the beauty of my gift that I have. I process with people, and the team that I have do the same thing. We work through your blocks. So it's not too much for you to handle because you're carrying the table from one end and I carry the table from the other hand with you. So it feels lighter. You see? That's what we do in Reflectorium. I help you move through the blocks. I dissolve them with you. So thank you so much for joining. And I'll see you at another True Light Show podcast. Bye. I love you.